back on the escalator again.
Leave it alone. What?
Comics.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
TV and movies. Wrestling. Music.
We are just getting started!
Finally, a podcast about things you actually care about, hosted by a couple of guys who actually care about those things too.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yep. Maybe a little too much.
Yes, that's awesome.
The talented one, Chris Machete.
That no-talent ass clown became famous.
And Brenton, you know, that guy from your other favorite podcast.
I liked it. I was good at it.
So grab onto the handrail and don't let go.
There's a little boy caught the escalator!
This is the Kids on the Escalator podcast. Woo! Here's CM and BD.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Hi.
And the show has begun.
With a new intro. That's our new intro, I guess.
That's a new intro. Yeah. Mike, hi.
Graphics.
Thanks, buddy, for throwing it in there. We got that. That's the sounds that you hear on the audio as well. So there we go. Nice work. Mm-hmm.
Wicked. Yeah, Lonnie put that together. Right, Drew? Lonnie, our producer, Lonnie did that. It was great.
She's
How's it
real
going,
great.
man? What are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just hanging out in a basement in Cloverdale, British Columbia, trying not to cause a ruckus.
Good. Good.
As it goes. The dust has settled in Saudi Arabia, but the dust has not settled on my life from posting posting a podcast on my other show with a doctor. So that's been a fun week of
There you go.
taking
So
that
check
shit.
that
Let
out.
me tell you that. Let me tell you that. No shortage of Facebook doctors at all. So good stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, man. It was.
I got my doctor on my hat.
Stirred the pot a little bit, and as it goes, it kind of stirred the pot a bit. So, whatever. It's me. It's Brenton. That's Chris, and we're hanging out. It is Monday night. I think what we're gonna do from now on, just to get this thing started properly, is say hi to Dangerous Dorothy and Gracious Gary, because they're tuning in.
They are.
Hi
every
guys.
week. They always
How's it
check
going?
in too to make sure that we're on the air.
That's right. Because if we're not on the air, the world's in trouble. And I'm not flooded out or anything here, so I've got good.
No, my dad was concerned that you were flooded out. So yeah, so we've got a little thing going on now. We're going to we're antiquing. We're going to the antique markets and the flea markets.
Ooh, you're going to start. You personally, you're going to antique, or they're antiquing and you're driving them there?
Well, no, I wasn't even driving. My dad drove, but I go for the comic books, right? And I always get I find like these great deals. I don't have any out; they're all filed away. But I always find amazing comic books at these places. The last place we were at, though, was a great big one. It was in Deseronto. But I said to the lady, I'm complimenting her. I was like, "Wow, it's a fantastic flea market." And she's like, "Oh, death stare! Like this is an antique shop, not a flea market." And really gave me shit over it. And it's like, "Oh, easy, lady, easy."
It's like making fun of the karaoke people. This is
easy. It was apparently, and then I said to her, I said, "That's okay, I understand." I said, I draw comic book art, and I hate it when people say, "Oh, you draw cartoons," and she just looked at me like, "It's not the same." I'm like, but my parents got a great deal on a little table. And I thought it was a great flea market. She was a little snotty with me, but that's okay.
It's not a flea market, Chris.
Or
it's a
antique
gathering
place. I did it again. She's going to come after me. But I can't remember the name of the place. But it was a fun place to go to. It was in Deseronto. Tons of comic books. My parents got a little end table, so the folks were out moving and shaking.
It sounds like the name of the place, Chris, was Karen's Antique Shop.
It was Karen's, and her name was Karen. How funny is that her name was Karen and she Karened me? She pulled a Karen on me about calling it a flea market. I guess that's a touchy subject.
Yeah,
but I try. But then again, see, I'm trying to be personal. You know me, right? I'm like, "Oh, sorry about that." And I try and give them a relatable story, and she just looks at me like, "That's not the same."
Well, Karen, you can keep your antiques. Gracious Gary and Dangerous Dorothy do not have time for your shit. Okay, they got things to build. They got antiquing to do. We don't need any Karens ruining it. So. It's crazy.
So Taylor's back tomorrow, so I don't know if we're going to go antiquing this weekend, if we're just going to all get together and have some drinks and some food or something.
I was speaking to her a little bit today, actually. Wasn't somebody from her camp going to come on tonight?
They were, but they got to do all their COVID tests because they're traveling across the border tonight. But their show just got canceled in Vegas, in LA. So their last night of the tour, they're in LA. and the show
Yeah.
got canceled because a singer of another band got COVID.
That's because
They
everyone
didn't get
lost their
shot in
mind
the
and went out
right
in LA, and they're like, it's great and everything's awesome.
But so anyway, so my daughter's out there in her mid-20s, LA.
Yeah.
Last day of the tour, show
Yeah.
gets canceled, coming home tomorrow. I hope she has a fun time tonight.
Oh, I'm guessing. It's Hollywood. There's something. Taylor,
She's going to have fun.
you be safe out there.
She's not watching, dude. Trust me.
What are you talking about? Damn it. Okay, Monday night. It is Kids on the Escalator. We are diving deep. Chris tasked me with a mission this weekend to watch some Spider-Man stuff. I posted this earlier in the week as to what everyone's favorite version of Spider-Man is. We're forgetting the one from the 70s that we grew up on with the cartoon Spider-Man. I like the voice on that guy, but he always sounded 60 years old. But anyways, so these were the different ones. Obviously, you got Garfield, you got Tobii Maguire, you got that Holland kid, and then the other kid. Tom Holland's in there.
The new one. Well, the new one hasn't hit
the animated.
The new one hasn't hit the screen yet, right? I'm thinking that's where they're heading with the new movie, though, because I think they're going to wipe out all the other Spider-Men, and then we're going to come in with our Miles Morales Spider-Man, who was the cartoon one. Had that, the one that Fox did. He was the main character of the cartoon one, and I believe. I haven't read up on this or anything. This is just my brain saying that I think they're going to go forward with the Miles Molasses one. The Miles Molasses.
Let's call him Miles Molasses.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, they'll go ahead with Miles there. Yeah. And I think it'll be awesome. I've always liked that character. I think Miles was pretty rad. He was a good, he came in.
I love that version. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought it was good too. I liked it as well. I thought he was a good supplement for Peter Parker, because Peter is a tough guy. They've tried many times, with Ben Reilly and putting different personas in his noggin. But Miles, 2 thumbs up. And if you're, I've also heard from a lot of people who are in the know with comic books, when they have advice to start on a new Spider-Man series, they say to start with the Miles Morales ones.
It's funny because I didn't know what to expect going into that version with the animated one, and let's talk about that for a second. How well did that do? It did so well, right? I was going to say it did so well, and the animation was amazing, and it reminded me of just it was just so fluid and great, and I loved the animation of it, but I love the story of it, and you can fill people in on that haven't seen it, or as far as like what the premise of it was, because I loved the crossing over of the two Spider-Men, but man, it was cool. It was really,
and that's
really
what Marvel
cool.
looks like they're going to do with their new movie now, is do the whole time stream thing, do almost exactly the same thing kind of deal. You know what I mean? The one thing about the animated one that I found so much, do you remember when the Kingpin killed Peter Parker right off the beginning there?
Yeah.
That was, whoa. What did Alex do when he saw that? Was he like dead?
Well, yeah, they were all, I didn't see it with them originally. I had to go back and see it because I was away on tour when it came out. They went and saw it and loved it. And I was late to it. I think I ended up going to it when they put it back in the theaters, because I think they put it back in over Christmas or something. Right. And you could go for like $2 or something. I think that's when I went and saw it.
That's cool. Nice.
And so they would have already had that ruined. But
my reaction probably also would have been like, wait a minute. And he just it was pretty brutal, right? Yeah. But that was really good. I thought that animated, because it's all about the timelines and stuff like that, and a new Spider-Man being born in the animated world. It's a huge story though, because it's timelines. It's hard to describe the story, without taking up like half the episode just talking about that one cartoon, one animated series. But as I say, it looks like they're going to bring that into the new world here and have everybody, all 3 of these guys, come in here. It looks like they're going to kind of clean house, right?
Break down though what Miles. Okay, so let's just for 1 second, we're going to go to these. If we go, from left to right on the screen for everyone watching, you've got the Tobii Maguire, which was basically the launch of the first kind of coming out of the Spider-Man. Hey, Spider-Man's reborn, and this is what we're doing, and they did it with Tobii, and then they went to Andrew Garfield, and then they went to Tom Holland, and then you had the Miles Morales one. So. We can dive into the other 3 for a minute, but let's go to Miles for a second. Mm-hmm. What was the premise of that cartoon? The idea behind it?
What was bringing him into the other universes, crossing the universes over, right? He is related to one of Spider-Man's older villains, the Prowler, who was one of those guys that, was he a villain? Was he a hero? He's really, really cool looking. I should have pulled one of his comics because I got his first appearance and second appearance. Purple and green and black outfit, and it's really, really cool. So young little Miles Morales, his uncle, is a criminal, and he finds out, and he ends up getting bit by a spider, kind of the same as Spider-Man. And it's just this. It's the big thing, that the story that everybody will probably make about it is that the kid's black, right? Which, as we've discussed on here, that isn't really a big deal in our corner of the universe. But that's probably the big spin that the media is going to put on this, if this is what happens. But I could see it heading that way, especially with this time and age right now, that it's time that they release that into the mainstreams, I guess, But as far as the whole movie goes, it's about time streaming and bringing different Spider-Mans in for different places. So it's going just like the movies. I don't want to tell too much because it looks like this is what the movie's going to be all about. And There's so much raging on controversy about the movie. So we can discuss the trailer, which maybe it will have a lot to do with that movie as well, right? So that's why I suggested we go back to watch the very first two Spider-Man movies with Tobii Maguire, because they're going to if you think about it, okay, so they're bringing back Doc Ock, 100%, right? We've seen him come in, 100%. We know that the timelines are going to get messed up, 100%, right? So
totally. And the last time we saw Doc Ock, he was
in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And it looks like Green Goblin's coming in, which is, oh my gosh. If they give him an animated face instead of that helmet, I am going to be just like thrilled. That will be so cool. The helmet was a little lame, right? The helmet was a little lame. Okay. So here's the thing though. So Doc Ock, when he goes down, he just fought Spider-Man and he goes down. So, the first thing he's going to think of when he comes up is Spider-Man. Green Goblin. Look at Green Goblin when he went down. Oh man, did he ever and that is such a great, that's a Joker Batman type feud.
I guess the only thing about the Doc Ock thing though is when he went down, he kind of ended up going down as a good guy. Mm-hmm. He kind of switched over on that one where it was at the end. He's like, well, let me do this. And then he takes the whole thing down with him into the bottom of the Hudson River, I guess, or the ocean, whatever it is. Or I guess it was the Hudson River. So
underneath that bridge, right? Where the bridge,
so what I'm saying is
the trailer.
So he goes down as a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, he did the switch, and he does that, and he goes down. So we get
but it's Doc Ock. He's not no way. I mean, he's too good of a villain to have. That was the thing about Mysterio too, man. Mysterio's gonna be a good guy. No, he's not. Nope. Right. No way. Doc Ock is way better a villain than a good guy. They got enough good guys, man. Trust me. If he's coming out of there and he's acting good, it's all a ploy for Doc Ock.
Gotcha.
But so leading into the new Spider-Man that we have is cool because we get to go back and watch the old Spider-Mans to get a little bit of an idea of where we're headed, which is great because I love that. I love that idea. You gotta respect the past. Now, going back to the original two films, let's talk about some of the stuff that, so because I've bagged the first few Spider-Mans pretty badly, right? Everybody's hacked on Spider-Man 3, but Tobii Maguire and everything I've hacked on pretty badly. So I haven't probably watched them in a decade, I bet, man.
Me too.
It's probably been a decade. So one, it was nice to see the old Parker luck, as they would call it in the comic books. Just horrible luck. It's just great. Just it's so Peter Parker. The second thing, it was nice to see old Aunt May. Like, you know how they have the new Aunt May was kind of hip and cool. It was nice to see the frail old Aunt May. I thought that was great. And actually, you know what? I didn't like, but it was entertaining to see the whole Uncle Ben corner of things, which I was tired of before because you saw that too much. One of the biggest things that I missed and I didn't realize I missed was the Daily Bugle and J. Jonah Jameson. That whole angle on it is fantastic. And I can't remember the actor's name who plays J. Jonah Jameson, but he's fantastic.
Right. Yeah.
He's coming back, right? So that's again why I say we're going back to earlier ones to see what's coming up in the new movie, which is really cool. Now, just overview of things. I really didn't like in the newer movies the way they portrayed the high school and the way they showed Peter Parker in high school. Whereas this one, I just found it a little funnier because they didn't go into depth that much in the classes and that much. It was just, you got the overview of he got picked on. You got the overview that he was very, very smart. And that's all you need to know about his schooling, to me anyway, right? I don't like the whole
But to give you some perspective on that, my daughter and son love they love Tom Holland and that sort of thing, which I think was that weirdness of or not weirdness, sorry, that's Back to High School. So my kids, at least when they were watching those over the last couple of years, were sort of in that. I think it made them a little bit more relatable because when we were watching the Tobii Maguire ones this weekend, they were really kind of freaked out by it. They were kind of like, well, what? He's older or something. And it was like this weird, there was this like established relationships by this point. Like, MJ's already an actress and there's already so they're out of high school.
In the high school, in the first one, she was still in high school, right? And she was aspiring to be an actress. But then she didn't. She was working at the diner for a while, and she was telling everybody that she could. We've also mentioned too. We've had this conversation where I understand that they put the high school thing in the new ones. They have to have the younger kids like it. And I take solace in the fact that long time ago, I pinpointed that they put that Peter Parker stuff in there and do it the way they do to appease the younger viewers. And you just solidified that, my friend, right? Like that's why the younger viewers are attaching to it, and that's why they put it in there. Very smart move. I'm an old guy. They're not going to get all people in our age group to fill the pockets of Mickey Mouse there. They've got, and you need to pass the torch on to the kids as well. I would hate it if Spider-Man was unobtainable to kids. If they looked at it and were like, oh yeah, that we don't say groovy. You know what I mean? Like it has to evolve. And I totally get that. That's again why I think there should be a Spider-Man or Spider-Woman for everybody. That's fine. As long as they don't lose my amazing Spider-Man that I've been collecting since I was 4 years old, I'll be very happy with everybody having their own Spider-Man. I think that's great.
And what's interesting to me too, because in watching that, it was a different style of writing as well. So totally. it was still coming out of the dare I say 90s style of superhero movie. I mean, Deadpool changed the way you read a superhero movie, but I thought Dark Knight kind of started that phase of like, no, we're going to do this a little bit different. Whereas those Spider-Man movies to me, campy is not what I'm looking for, but it's just a different kind of dialogue. Now, the J. Jonah Jameson was amazing because he's over the top, and he's always been over the top as long as I've known him. You don't want you don't want a chilled out J. Jonah. You want a guy that's like on cocaine, ready to rock all the time. Cause that's what, you want that guy that's like, I'm going to get Spider-Man. Wait, we need Spider-Man. Wait, no, I'm going to get Spider-Man. And I think it adds that frantic madness where Spider-Man's not, he's dealing with all the villains, but then he's also got to deal with this guy. And so I dug that side of it, but the writing to me was a little bit more like, I'm going to get you, Spider-Man, or it's over and blah, blah, blah. Whereas like the new ones with Tom Holland, there's this new kind of writing, which to me, at least, if it's not necessarily for the times, but it seemed to flow a little bit.
Well, what year was Spider-Man 1 was out? Spider-Man 1 was 2001?
Something like that.
Well, that's like over 20 years old. The dialogue totally is going to be, and the cool thing that I liked about the original ones that I didn't get at the time is how hokey and how throwback it was to the 60s and early 70s Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like that's you nailed it right there. It was kind of hokey, but it brought it back to that whole easygoing Spider-Man, and you could tell this wasn't a futuristic Spider-Man. Because it's 2001 back then, right? They didn't have a lot of that stuff. But even just, people singing the Spider-Man song, where have you, with their instruments on the street and things like that. Yeah. There was so many little Easter eggs in there that
was a nice throwback. I dug, because my kids were like, what are they singing? I'm like, that's the Spider-Man song. And it was funny but I can deal with like for instance, I can deal with like the original Batman with Keaton, being a little bit campy, and even Batman Returns. And then it got completely off the rails, over the top insanity. And then the Spider-Man was like, and even Superman, I don't think that they got it right until Man of Steel, because you even talked about your Superman.
Oh, I can't watch Superman 1 anymore. It's too boring.
Right. So then, Spider-Man to me was that re-entry before they got it right with all this Avengers stuff and Iron Man. And really, I guess Iron Man was the one that set the new bar. So Iron Man would have been the one that would have set the new bar. Everything up to that point, I think, was still...
That was the first one they said, okay, we're going to put some money into this movie, right? We're going to actually We're gonna make this look really good as we can, which is awesome. You know that really helped a lot too. Who would have thought? Robert Downey Jr. would have been such an awesome Tony Stark, right?
Just amazing, you know. And I think, but much like Tony Stark, well, Tony Stark was the rich. You know, I know we're off topic, but he's the rich kind of. Well, he's the Batman. He's the Iron Man of the Batman of Marvel. Really, he's the everyday guy that happens to be a millionaire. That he's not a superhero. He just happens to have a lot of money that can create things.
Mm-hmm.
Would you
Moon
agree
Knight's
or
like
not?
that.
Would you agree?
Well, Moon Knight's more like Batman.
Sure.
He has.
Sure, but I'm saying that from a relatable standpoint of someone watching it, going, God, and Robert Downey Jr. is like that guy that needed the comeback. So it instantly put him into that humbling, like, okay, how are you going to act on this thing? And it's really cool.
Yeah. But as far as the characters go, Tony Stark is like, he has to be Iron Man and Tony Stark, and he loves, like, you know, give me this, give me that. Where Bruce Wayne is more, when he's not Batman, he's acting like he, you know, bumbling around and he's always loaded. So they're different that way. Whereas, well, Moon Knight's coming out soon, right? And it's getting a lot of publicity. So we'll discuss that in the near future, though. We'll get that.
Okay, so we're gonna go. Do you want to show the trailer of the new trailer, or do you want to stay?
Well, let's hit. What else do we want to hit here?
So
one more thing. What did I want to talk about with Spider-Man 1 again?
yeah, J. Jonah Jameson.
One thing. There's so many little Easter eggs in those first two Spider-Man that I didn't appreciate. Right down to you know, you hit the jackpot, Tiger, that MJ would say.
Right.
We got to remember, there's stronger superheroes, right? There's more powerful superheroes. There's more like Superman, Hulk. There's more respected superheroes like Batman. He's a detective. But is there really a more beloved superhero in the world than Spider-Man?
Well, they show that in the scene with the subway when he's unmasked.
Yeah,
and they're all like,
I mean in real life, just
in real life. No, yeah,
in real life, he's the most beloved one. Everybody loves Spider-Man. You know, Peter Parker's the smart aleck kid, right? So when you come at the movies in that angle, you know, you got your Iron Man movie, you know, you got your the Hulk movie, and then, you know, you got your Spider-Man movie. My point is, there's different angles on those, and the way they're doing the new ones is really embracing the kids, and that's cool, because Spider-Man is the most beloved hero in the world. You know, the way in the first ones, I forgot how of him swinging, how cool it looked way back then, and how they were trying to emulate that cartoon back from the 60s.
That looked
we were
great.
discussing.
I noticed that too. There was a lot of
re-emulating that. Yeah, my only real, like, you know, other than one scene with Doc Ock that I won't go into, I still can't get behind the silver webbing on his outfit. I think it should just be the black. I don't like that silver kind of webbing. That's nitpicking on his costume, though. But I really like the green. I think Green Goblin's awesome. Dr. Octopus is freaking awesome. Like, oh man, I can't wait to see these guys in the new trailer. So if you want to show the new trailer now, unless you've got something to say about,
well, I was gonna just a
couple
couple of takeaways from that, especially in number 2. I never caught the Doctor Strange reference on the first time.
Oh yeah,
so
I got
that was
Jay
Jonah. Yeah, it's already taken.
Great Easter egg.
You know, I love the fact that he's always getting fired. Peter's always getting fired, but then
like in the
comic
book, yeah,
he's fired. But then, you know, wait, Parker, go shoot this, and that was awesome. I really thought, in my real problem with the second one, and it was just a technical thing, the fire scene was totally lame. So when he runs into the building as Peter Parker and he's got to rescue the baby, and it was just so, I'm like, did anyone watch that back? Because it's the cheesiest thing I've ever seen. Like, it just didn't, that it was flowing so good. And then it was like,
you know,
like
it's funny because
the fake baby and I'm like, come on, guys.
Well,
like, come
that's similar, dude. That's similar to the scene that grinds my gears in part 2, where Doc Ock is taking these punches from Spider-Man, like pow, pow. And then Aunt May bonks him over the head with an umbrella, and that's it. He's cake.
Yeah, that for me, I was looking at that going, and then the other, I was like, what? Come on. And that was a little bit cheesy. Also, the other side of it, and this is just nitpicking a little bit, but in that fire scene, there was some terrible screams, like some really bad acting screams, like people like, and I was like they're just not doing that anymore. It's kind of like, you know, and you had the Willem scream in there, which was funny. That's always in every movie when the guy falls off a bridge. And then why is Peter Parker doing laundry at the laundromat? To me, why can't he go to Aunt May's?
Oh,
I'm just saying. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. Why is
you know,
it?
like
Yeah.
there was like a little.
Maybe you'll
there
meet
was
somebody there, right?
Yeah, it was just kind of funny to me. So, yeah, so those were a few of the takeaways, but just in a funny kind of like, you don't see a lot of that now. Like I find like some of the writers might be looking at that a little bit closer. Not saying that there's not some terribly bad movies out there, but I'm just saying like sometimes there's so many people looking at these lenses now. They're going, really? Is that? Because guys like Kevin Smith and you are like, you're going to call that shit out and they know it. Whereas before, that was even in 2001, that was before really any of this stuff was going on. Like movie reviews were still stuff you read in the newspaper. And Roger and Siskel and Ebert had a show on television to talk about this stuff, but you didn't have these deep dives like this. You had to get that at Comic-Con or something. So
the fanboys can watch these over and over and over again.
I forgot one thing, Chris. Sorry. Here we go. I forgot to run this.
Oh, cool. Oh, I love that. It's like Nintendo Atari graphics. That's the best.
It's our Spider-Man deep dive. Okay, let's get into the new. I'm going to get into the new trailer right now. This is
okay. Yeah, let's look at that.
Yeah.
Ever since I got bit by that spider, I've only had 1 week where my life has felt normal. That was when you found out.
When you botched that spell where you wanted everyone to forget the Peter Parker Spider-Man, we started getting some visitors. From every universe.
Hello, Peter. You're not Peter Parker.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Dr. Otto Octavius.
Wait, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
There are others out there. We need to send them back. So, Scooby-Doo this crap.
You know, all this is kind of your mess. I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap.
You're flying out into the darkness to fight ghosts.
What do you mean?
They all die fighting Spider-Man. It's their fate. I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah, me too.
Don't.
Look, there has to be another way!
There isn't. They're a danger to our universe.
You're not gonna take this away from me.
Peter, you're struggling to have everything you want while the world tries to make you choose.
This is all my fault. I can't save everyone. What's happening?
They're starting to come through, and I can't stop them.
December 17th, exclusively in movie theaters. Tickets on sale November 29th. Spider Monday.
Damn, huh?
So let me ask you,
wow.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Was this part written around, like, are you familiar with the story that they're telling here? Is this from a comic book, or is
Not
this
that I'm
something
aware of, no.
that they've designed for this movie? So, because my curiosity is, why is Doctor Strange there, other than the fact that I understand the portals and he's talking about all this stuff, but are they going somewhere else with Doctor Strange now that Wanda's wrapped, and that they were leaning towards a Doctor Strange moment in Wanda? So is this going to tie into that and sort of launch the next thing of Doctor Strange? So what are your thoughts here?
Probably. I don't know the storyline of this, if it's something brand new, but I'm not familiar with this storyline of Doctor Strange. But Spider-Man Peter Parker, he wants to turn time back before everybody knew he was Spider-Man, because his life's hell now. So he goes to Doctor Strange and asks him to do a spell to turn time back, And then Peter Parker's thinking about being a kid. Oh no, well, what about MJ? Oh, what about Aunt May? Oh, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Don't touch it. And he screws everything up. So the cool thing is that, spoiler or alert here, put your hands over your ears if you haven't seen Venom yet. I'm going to give you the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
2, 1.
The hidden scene brings Venom into the Spider-Man universe, and J. Jonah Jameson's in there and everything. So I think you're going to see, so that already happened in Venom, right? He's already been brought in. So we're going to have to catch up kind of time-wise to that movie. And that's what's going to happen here. So to say where this is going to send things, I think it's going to go in the direction of Venom to be more than Doctor Strange.
Interesting. Well, but they're talking about Holland not doing any more of these either. So,
and he's going to be the new Iron Man, isn't he? Didn't he screw up and say something? I didn't look into it, but I get, because he always screws up, right? When he goes to these meetings and gives away secrets and shit that he wasn't supposed to. And
that's what's his name. That's what's his name. The guy who does the Hulk. He's the guy that always screws up.
No, Tom Holland does it too, with all the Spider-Man stuff, dude. Oh yeah. Oh geez, yeah. It's funny. He knows it too. It's hilarious.
That's funny. I dig the. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting because they kind of, you think they'd sign these kids to like 10 movies because they're like, we don't know where it's going, so you need to commit to 10 movies. Well, I want to do 3. Yeah, but we don't know if we'll be done by 3, so we need to, so it's going to be interesting to see if they go down that road with him. So
it's like a hockey player, right?
I dig him. I dig this kid. I like. He's my favorite of all the guys that have played Spider-Man.
Oh, me too. By far. I thought he's been great. I love his like movie references and stuff. It is very time accurate, and they're trying to keep the values of Peter Parker and his little je ne sais quoi intact. And I thought they've done a great job.
So okay, so of this group, and let's take the animated out for a minute. So you're saying, you're thinking Tom's the best one?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Must be weird for guys that have played the role. Like, Christian Bale bails out on Batman, and then they've got, 2 new Batmans since him, and he has no interest in coming back in. Body of work, he must be like, yeah, I'm done with it. I'm good. And whoever plays it now. But it must be weird for like, it's not like Toby and Andrew Garfield have had massive careers because of it. Whereas Tom's probably made more money than the 2 of them combined, just based on Avengers and all the rest of it. And those 2 got to kind of sit back and go, little shit. You know what I mean? He's kind of like, and he's going to make all the money on this movie, and we're going to make a little bit too, but not as much as him. Like, it just must be weird for those guys to get together on a set and kind of try to be professional about it. When Toby's like, well, I started this thing, and Andrew's like, yeah, but I carried it. And Tom's like, yeah, but I fucking defined it. So you're going to have these 3 guys, and hopefully they'll have a fight too.
Well, Garfield was by far the lesser of the 3 Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's not supposed to be like a emo kid. That didn't spin right for me.
Yeah, and the other side of it too, man, is I also I'm a fan of not the big cast. So we did have sort of like at the time, Toby and Kirsten Dunst were pretty big, and then then you got Emma Stone and you got Andrew, and so Tom kind of brought it back, and so did the girl who plays, was it Zendaya or something? Whoever did it,
the Mary. Yes, I can't remember her name, but the new Mary Jane.
So that's like good because it kind of took it back down a notch for me, back to the simplicity of what you're talking about, of it being he's not supposed to be some emo kid, he's just supposed to be some nerdy weird kid, right? So yeah, it's interesting to me.
Yeah, because if you give, it depends. Like, see, he was the right kid, the right person, in the right place, and the right knowledge to get the spider powers. Like, that's the whole thing about Peter Parker getting it, and that it happened to and perchance him being a not. I don't know if he was even being a dick letting that guy go who stole the money. I guess because the guy just ripped him off. It's an eye for an eye. Some would say no, you should just be the bigger person and stop him. But so he let a criminal go, and the criminal killed his uncle, who basically was like his father. And it's a great story. You know what I mean? So the kid who has the Spider-Man powers has to have the proper backup and the proper makeup to be Spider-Man. And the Peter Parker they portrayed in Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker didn't really seem to match up for me. I'm thinking more if that kid got those powers, he would have been out swishing people's noggins and stuff who pissed him off. He's an emo kid, right? Have you ever, have these people never met an emo kid? Man,
I know.
You give an emo kid powers, and I don't think they're gonna.
I'm looking for. I'm having an issue with comments on here, but we've had a couple. Hi, Cliff. Marty says Nicholas Hammond played the best Spider-Man.
Nicholas
Interesting.
Hammond. Is that like way back on the TV show?
Must be way back then. And hi, Todd. Todd's watching. Todd Kearns. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
What's up, Todd?
Hanging
out with Ace here, Todd. There he is, right between there's Ace.
Yeah, so that's I can't wait to kind of see where it's going to go. I'm very interested to see what the next thing is going to be. My daughter is losing her mind, mostly because she probably has a little crush on Tom Holland. I'm guessing she's in that age now, but she's freaking out. She can't wait to see this thing. So it's a Marvel,
one, right? This is
I think so. Yeah, but then she'll switch to Iron Man if he's going to be Iron Man. So the consensus
my dad actually mentioned that.
The consensus is basically Tom Holland is the best of these guys.
Yes.
He plays it best. They got it right with him. And sorry to the other two. Sorry, Toby. Go back to poker games.
Yeah. It's weird. You see how they added Iron Man in there, though, how Iron Man wasn't in the original scope of things, right?
Yeah. Well, good job by them.
Well, it worked in the newer ones, right? You know what I mean? Giving him it's logical to bring him up with armor and stuff. In the latest Amazing Spider-Man comic, Peter Parker is like in a coma. He got hurt so bad, and another Spider-Man, Ben O'Reilly, he has armor, and he survived this incident that Spider-Man and this other Spider-Man were in, Ben Reilly. Scarlet Spider, I guess. And so Peter Parker didn't have the armor. He has the classic outfit on, and he got messed up in the newest one. So I love the fact that in the newer comic book, they're actually, okay, there's no way he would have survived this in a spider outfit. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you something, because you got the Amazing Spider-Man. We'll get to your amazing comic collection, which we did a couple of days ago. But I always I saw a few this weekend. I was at a collectible show this weekend, and I sent you a few pics of some stuff that I was looking at, Spawn, and
you got to get into the Silver Age stuff, buddy, or the Bronze Age.
Well, these were this was at like a sports card collectible show, and the guys had stuff around, and I was like, oh, what do you got? So when you say the Amazing Spider-Man and the new Spider-Man, let's let people know. Just how much time do you spend reading and buying? Do you buy every comic book ever? Is there going to be a spot when you stop? You're like, I'm not interested in this story that they're doing with Amazing Spider-Man, or I have to keep buying Amazing Spider-Man every single month because I just have to keep doing it. Do you have a limit of what you buy? Do you buy everything? You're like, I'm all the way in, or
no? Because there's like 5 to 10 Spider-Man comic books a month. No, that's the thing, as I was mentioning, is that there's a Spider-Man for everybody now. And mine is Amazing Spider-Man. It's the same one that started in 1962 or 1963 was the first Amazing Spider-Man. All right. So Spider-Man first appeared 1962. Wrap your head around that. One of the biggest characters today, created in 1962. And it wasn't by Jack Kirby. A lot of people think that it was Jack Kirby did the art for that. It was not. It was Steve Ditko. It was Stan Lee and a gentleman named Steve Ditko. Now, Stan Lee did go to Jack Kirby, who's famous for the Hulk, Captain America, Fantastic Four, many, many, many heroes. He did not draw Spider-Man. He tried it first, and apparently he made him too Spider-Manly. He made him too manly. Stan Lee wanted Spider-Man to be more of a kid, kind of gangly, So Steve Ditko did the art justice, and he drew him for many years. And apparently it got to the point, rumor has it, that Steve Ditko just stopped cashing his checks because he didn't like being a part of the system. He wanted to, this is back in the late or the mid 60s, right? So there's a lot of political stuff going on at that point, I guess, that Steve Ditko was getting behind. And part of it was taking a paycheck from a huge company. So apparently, as rumor has it, his checks were stacking up there, but he kept drawing Spider-Man and sending it in, but he wouldn't pick up his check. So that's pretty wild. So the first appearance was in a book called Amazing Fantasy by Marvel Comics, 1962. First appearance of Spider-Man. Then the next year, Spider-Man got his own comic book, Amazing Spider-Man, which is still going today. It's on issue 800 and something, I believe. And I
Same
still buy
storyline.
it.
Same storyline.
It's still Peter Parker and Mary Jane. They come up
But
with.
I'm saying that they whatever started 800 episodes ago is continuing, and they're basically just rewriting little things. But it's the whatever's in 800, they might refer to something that was in 200, or they might refer to something that was in 500. Yeah.
Yep. So that's why I buy this one. Now, mind you, there's been a bunch of there's been some reset buttons pushed that were not very good ideas. And then, of course, they have timelines and different things and secret wars where they can change the timeline back. So they've experimented with many different things. The cool thing, and another thing that people don't think about, and another reason why Spider-Man is the world's most beloved character, his consistent cartoons that have dominated the airwaves in 70s cartoons when we were kids, right? So Amazing Spider-Man #1 comic came out. Its first appearance was 1962. It only took like 4 years later, 63. 4 years later, 1967 is when that iconic Spider-Man cartoon came out with the theme song, Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
And it was done so well.
That song is amazing, right? I don't even know if the gentleman that wrote that song or whoever wrote that song is getting like royalties today for that, because they should. What a great song. Of all the superhero songs, and I guess there's not a ton of them, but that's up there with dun 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 dun, right? So we had our first Spider-Man cartoon, and it was in color. That was a big deal in 1967, man. And that was in the first one, 1967, and we all remember that because of the song. And it went on for a wacky years, man. We didn't get another new Spider-Man cartoon till 1981. And this was just a short run. They even borrowed some frames and stuff from that earlier cartoon that they did in the 60s. Now, after 81. At the end they started 81 with just Spider-Man, and they ended 81 with Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends with Firestar and Iceman. Do you remember that one?
I don't remember that one.
Really? It's Spider-Man.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. But I mean, that would have been on. You lived in a different part of Ontario, and this is the reason I say this is because at the time the only way we could get some of this stuff was on WUTV out of 29 out of Buffalo, and so unless you could get that on the rabbit ears before cable, you couldn't. I couldn't get G.I. Joe. I couldn't get Transformers. None of that stuff unless I had channel 29. And everyone in Southern Ontario will know what I'm talking about because they had the best wrestling. They had G.I. Joe. They had everything. They had the A-Team. I believe they had maybe A-Team was NBC, but I just remember Buffalo 29, and that's where a lot of that stuff lives. So I didn't see a lot of that stuff. I saw Spider-Man every weekend because they had Spider-Man into. I think they showed it on CBC or something because it's Spider-Man into Rocket Robin Hood.
Nice on Sundays,
or Saturdays or something like that. But they were pretty prominent. So I never saw that one. No.
Okay, so that was 1981. I remember that one vividly. I used to watch that one Saturday mornings, and then there wasn't another new one until the 90s. 94, we got a new one, and that was the one that Joe Perry from Aerosmith did. And he did all the music for that. Joe Perry from Aerosmith, the guitar player. So, and that one kind of was when we went from 81 to 94, right? So we got a newer Spider-Man here. But they didn't change it too much. You know what I mean? It still stayed pretty legit to the original, but did they just really focus more on the villains? They brought the villains out a lot more. It wasn't as kitschy. But that was a good, I remember the 94 one as well. That was a really good one. And then 98, we had the high-tech Spidey come out in 98. So it was like the Spider-Man 2099 version. So he had like this armor kind of thing and he was flying around. And then 2003, we had our first 3D animated version of Spider-Man, which I wasn't into at all. But 2003, that's when the animation is just everywhere. They're just throwing things at the screen. 2008, they took a Spectacular Spider-Man, which was a comic book, and they brought that in. And so this is where Marvel Comics are becoming huge in the movies. So they make a new Spider-Man cartoon where he is working with S.H.I.E.L.D. and he's running a thing with a bunch of these other heroes, right? So there's Spider-Man doing that with a S.H.I.E.L.D. team in 2012. 2017 was basically the same thing. It was just like more for the kids. And then 2021, which would have been what? Is that last year or this year?
That's this year.
That's this year. There we go. We had a brand
Today's
new
show sponsored by Chris's hat.
My hat, yeah. Oh, I'm terrible with numbers. I comic book artist life, my friend. I love it. So this year, 2021, they came out with one for kids under 10 years old. So now, and it's why I didn't realize that.
I haven't seen any of those.
Well, no, because a lot of these, you wouldn't. The last few were pretty, they're for younger kids, especially the newest one. But this is the first Spider-Man cartoon for kids under 10. So the big deal about that is that now they're catering to kids under 10. See, when I was under 10 reading Spider-Man, they were more made for teenagers. They weren't made for a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old to read them. So I had to kind of adapt to the comic book, whereas now the character is adapting to its audience, which is a major thing. And is another reason why it's so popular, right? So one day I'm gonna have to have a Skeletron made for kids. We'll have to have. That's what I was talking to Lonnie about that. The Pocket Knife Kid or something, right? Instead of Machete Kid, my comic deal there. So wow, what a run of cartoons, right?
They had and as I said, after that amazing cartoon that we grew up on, in this, the late 60s, 70s that came out. I mean, by the time I saw it, it would have been low 80s. But that beginning, that do like that whole thing,
now
and the Jameson thing, it was great. It was such a good cartoon, and
the soundtrack, and that's why the music behind it.
That's why I loved. What is that show that we talked about on Prime? That animated one that just came out. The one that they with the superhero dad and the kid.
Invincible.
Invincible. That reminded me of the old schools. That reminded me of the G.I. Joe and Spider-Man
animation style, right?
Yeah, the animation style. That's what
it looked a little more drawn. I like that as well.
Yeah,
I like that. And there's some still shots. They put the still shots in there.
Why don't you show me? Okay, so one of the things, you got a couple things to show off here. I'm always interested in your vast collection of comics, but why don't you? Speaking of Spider-Man, you want to show off some stuff here?
I got a couple things here. Yeah. So just comic book wise, for all my comic book aficionados, my 3 oldest Spider-Man comic books from Amazing Spider-Man, of course. Now, no, I don't have Amazing Fantasy number 15. No, I don't have Amazing Spider-Man number 1. I know I showed before how I have X-Men number 7 and Daredevil number 5. Now, the lowest Spider-Man I have is from 1965, and it is number 34. And his appearance of Kraven the Hunter. I think it's
Jeez,
second.
Look at that. 1965. That's wow.
So that's 65.
How much was that? How much was that in 1965?
It was 12 cents in 1965.
How much is it now? What's it worth now?
5. Well, now this is probably worth in the shape it's in, in the right person, I could probably get anywhere between $500 and $700 for it.
So let me ask you one while we're at this for a second. Let me ask you a question. How do you sell it? Because
eBay.
I was at a collectible show. Yeah, okay. But I was at a collectible show this weekend, and guys were selling hockey cards and all the rest of it. And I was able to find a bunch of cool things. And the kids opened up some mystery packs, and they got, to spend $20 on a mystery pack, but they got like, $150, $200 worth of shit. And I'm like, this is very, very cool. But then, is it like a used car? It's like, well, it's worth $500, but I'm only going to give you $200. Like, how do they grade it, and how would you maximize that $500? Because what's that person going to do? Are they going to turn around and sell it for $7, or are you maxing out every single dollar that to that person to sell that comic? If you were to sell that comic right now, someone's going to be like, "Oh, I'm going to give you $350, Chris." You're like, "No, it's worth $500." But then that person's not going to be able to sell it, for another 10 years for maybe another $200. Like, what's the process in actually buying these things? How much do you spend on this stuff?
Well, there is a grading guide. There is an actual Overstreet official grading guide that you can buy every year. And you can go to people and say, here's exactly what it's worth. This is the Bible of comic books. Right. You know what I mean? But it all depends on what condition the book is, man. And how nitpicky, so you can get graded books. I didn't bring in any with me, but they're in the slabs and they have the number on the top. So you can get your books graded. And that way, I should grab one of those. Just talk to people for 2 seconds.
Sure. Well, I'm going to pull him out for a second because I lost him. Oh, see, there he is. See, I lost him. I'm going to pull him out. I don't have any Spider-Man, if you can believe it. I have no Spider-Man stuff because I am a DC guy. So I've never been. I found growing up, it was more like you're either Spider-Man or you're Batman, or Superman. In that kind of realm. I know Chris kind of collects them all, but I kind of chose the DC side. So for me, I didn't have any Spider-Man. I barely had any Marvel stuff at all. I might have a few Hulks. I might have a couple of what else do I got? I got an Iron Man or two. I got a couple of Captain Americas, but I don't really have anything else. I've got all DC. Also, I just chose to go down that road and go with Superman. So, and DC. So that was kind of my thing. So kind of interesting to be down there, sort of, and watching Chris's. The fact that I can always go to Chris for everything, but I never had all that Marvel stuff. I had all DC stuff for me personally. So, what do you got there?
Well, so I brought a Spider-Man one. So this is the best way to sell a comic book is you get a graded one, because it tells you exactly. It's an 8.5.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of those this weekend with hockey cards.
CGC, yeah, the hockey. They have graded hockey cards as well. I got a Mike Palmateer here, with signed Mike Palmateer here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the best way to sell your comic books, is to get them graded. Now you have to pay to get them graded. And if you don't know somebody at a comic book store that does it, you got to send it away and risk putting it in the mail. There's not a very good system for this yet, unless you can go out and find them like this and buy them like that, right? But that's what I wish. Like, so these, if somebody was going to spend $500 on this, they would open it up and look through it and make sure there wasn't somebody writing on it, or there wasn't a page cut out, because that's sometimes you find that, right? You get some bum holes that sell you this kind of stuff online.
Will you buy off eBay yourself?
Oh yeah, I bought off eBay lots of times.
But how do you do that without? I guess the person just
you
gets
check
ranked,
the seller,
right?
man. If the seller sold like 2,000 comic books and nobody's complained, probably a pretty good guy. My experience on eBay has been way better than bad. If I've ever had any troubles, they've reimbursed me or fixed it for me. I don't complain about eBay really. And Kijiji, I've had a lot of luck on Kijiji. As I mentioned, the flea markets are great. My local comic book stores are amazing. Just talking to people like that, selling. But the thing is too, is that in my frame of mind, I don't want to sell these at all. At this point, I want to be aware of what they're worth. But this is the second oldest Spider-Man I have right here.
Medusa.
And it's Medusa from the Inhumans. And this was a gift from my wife, actually. I remember that. And this was 1966, this book's from. And then there's a Mysterio book, which is 1966 as well. You can see it's got a little ding right there. A little ding in the cover. Love Mysterio, though. Big fan of Mysterio. So those are my three oldest Spider-Man books. And as I say, these are all worth anywhere between $500 and $700, depending who I'm talking to. They're not mint. If they were mint, they would be worth a lot more. Or if they were...
How much is that graded one worth that you brought up?
I have no idea, to be honest with you, dude. I don't know. This was one I had a birthday and I was given $50 to buy something on eBay. I got this on eBay actually now. That's a good question. So I had a birthday. I had $50 cash. Somebody gave me, probably my wife, said, get yourself a comic book. And I bought this. I thought it was really,
very cool.
I like putting these up on my wall in my office. If people on my social media will see, I have these all over the place, right? I really like them.
Absolutely.
They're great. They're great that way. Now, the other thing I have is this. I have this collector's edition, limited edition DVD collector's gift set. All right. So this is Spider-Man 1. It comes with authenticity, which you have to have. Got the authenticity for everything. All right. I've got some signed artwork from John Romita on a piece of, look at this. This is great. Look at this. Still in the package, my friends.
Jeez, look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting respect from the collectors out there right now. I know I am. Now, this is awesome too. I don't know what printing this is of it, but look at that. It's a reprint of the first one. It's still, look, it's not even open. Reprinting of the original Amazing Fantasy, right? I got another couple copies of the reprint, so I'm not sure. In there, it's just like, yeah. Oh man, beautiful.
You just want to open it and read it, but you can't.
No, well, I have an open copy in the other room. That's okay. And it comes. I got a section of the film or whatever. You know how they do that?
Oh yeah, that's cool.
From right there, and of course, now you get a kick out of this. So it comes with this widescreen edition.
There,
you ready for this one?
Yep.
Stan Lee and Kevin Smith.
There we go. I've seen that before.
Well, it just came with it. What a great package, huh? So that's my special collector's edition, but the limited edition stuff in there, my friends, is just. And these are the kind of things when you're a collector, some of my collecting friends out there can relate, that you forget you had. My wife brought. Oh, you doing? My wife says you're doing a Spider-Man episode. Remember this? And I pulled up. She brought this out to me, and I looked through it. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I got to show that off. That is really cool. Really cool. This is with me not even really getting into my 5 boxes of Spider-Man comics. Right? Spider-Man is the most beloved hero in the world. Love Spider-Man. Love me some Spider-Man.
Are you okay? So I think you said on your favorite though. He's not quite your favorite though.
Who?
Daredevil's your favorite, yeah?
Oh, well, consistently, Daredevil is the best comic book. Consistently, Spider-Man has some pretty bad lows and some really good highs, but Daredevil, over the past many years, has been the most consistent comic book. Now, here's the other thing: there's only one Daredevil comic published a month. What does that tell you?
High value.
That, and there's they don't have to spread the idea out over 5 Daredevils. Now, mind you, right now, Elektra's Daredevil, and it's effing fantastic.
Now, Lonnie sent me something. She said you guys a few years back created a little stop motion fun. So let's check this out. This is let's go. This would have been created in Machete Studios, so we're going to run this.
Yeah, this is one of our creator-owned videos that we do,
which is awesome. So here we go. Check this out.
Machete.
Finally, the treasure is mine.
Well, hold on there, buddy.
You're not Spider-Man.
Oh no, I'm Spider-Man
on.
with an O. Yeah, the show couldn't afford Spider-Man, so here I am.
Well, your sleeves, they don't even match. Do you even have web shooters?
What? F*** you.
More magic from Machete Studios, my friend.
That's right.
Follow me on all platforms for all the entertainment and fun. I won't remember numbers, but I got some good information on comic books and fun things. And that issue 3 is coming out. As I mentioned, our computer died. We got a new computer, whole new system, great new art programs. Wow, it looks good, my friends. Halfway through it, and as I mentioned to you, your character, I've already penciled and inked 6 issues. Number stoked. 3 is coming out sooner than later. And your character makes his appearance in issue 5 in silhouette only. But he's mysterious. Besides being his camo, his first cameo appearance is in there.
My friends, it's a Monday night with a Machete deep dive into Spider-Man, which we could spend days and days and days on.
I've spent my life deep diving into Spider-Man. I love it. I was really excited for this one. The last week was funny though too, because we got to tell the viewers I'm a huge Death Angel fan from way back, and Brent's like, "Yeah, dude, we got the guitar player from Death Angel on." And then this is just before the show, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, man. So what comic books is he into?" "Oh, he's not into comics." I'm like, "Okay, man. What movies does he watch?" "Nah, he's not really into movies either." I'm like,
"Now what?"
I know, right? But no, it was just funny though. And he comes, "I like talking about business and coffee," and it's like, Brent has this other show that did I just right? So that was good for me to cut loose tonight, and just spew Spider-Man all over the internet, man. Thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate your time.
Make sure you guys go check out the new Spider-Man. It's going to be pretty rad. I know my kids will be first in line to go see that. That's absolutely going to happen. Last time they saw this, in a funny, interesting note, the last one that was with Jake Gyllenhaal, Mysterio. We were in England. Nice. And we went, and 2 days prior to seeing that, we had gone to London Tower and to the castle, and that whole third act of that movie is filmed there. So it kind of put the kids in that perspective.
I remember that.
We went to the Eiffel Tower. Hey, we went to that specific room. We went to, and so that made it really cool for them, and maybe that's what got them totally hooked. I'm not sure, but anyways. That, my friends, is the kids on the escalator for another Monday night. Quick one for you, but hey, you know what I mean?
Not an hour, man. I think an hour.
That's an hour. That's a good one. Yeah, it's awesome.
If people are going to give us an hour of their time a week, man, I'm satisfied with that. Thank you.
We can find Chris Machete at all the places.
And TikTok.
Buy his stuff. Buy his stuff.
5 subscribers away on TikTok from going live. Dude, 5. I'm probably 4 by now.
Get there, friends. I put
Chris
up...
Machete.
Get there. You can shop at Machete Etsy store. You want to do that? You want
and
Chris
also
Machete?
Sorry, machetecomics.ca is a thing, and we're launching that as well.
Follow us
over.
Anything
else you want me to mention?
kidsontheescalator.com. You can leave us a voice message and all the rest of it. That's where you can find all of our past episodes. Thanks to our friends over at Dean Blundell, as always, for hosting us over there. You follow me over at BrentonOnTour.com and follow me on Twitter on BrentonOnTour.com and all that fun stuff. You can also follow me on the TikTok, where today I put up one of those shape-shifting videos, and you might get a kick out of who I look like. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to give you a little hint. It rhymes with Obi-Wan. So go with that. And I put it up today for a little bit of fun. That was all right. But anyways, that's Kids on the Escalator for another Monday night. Join us again. I think we're going to break. We're going to break somewhere in there. And then maybe next week or the week after, and then we're going to go into all the Christmas stuff that we did last year, which is awesome, with movies and toys,
that was fun, huh?
All that cool shit. And maybe we'll get our buddy Jim Corderas back, the ghost of referees past.
We gotta get him. We gotta get Jimmy back and just let him talk, man. Holy cow! Like, we gotta just basically give him the show, dude.
Maybe we'll do that next week or the week after. I'll see what his availability is looking like.
Just give him the show, man. We'll just listen to him talk and feed him little kernels of questions, right? And subject matters, and say, "Go, Jimmy, go."
That's Chris Machete. I am Brent from the Brenton on Tour podcast. This is the Kids on the Escalator podcast for Monday night. Thank you, friends, for joining us. Good times.
We're at dudes.
Yeah.
See ya.